following through on a recent promise. President Trump now says that he is officially terminating every action that his predecessor, Joe Biden, made, which was signed using an Autopen. 47 announcing that moving forward, any and all documents, executive orders, or memorandums which were signed by that Autopen during the Biden administration, they are hereby considered null, void, and no longer in effect. Now, the ones he signed with that purple crayon, they're still considered mildly authentic. Additionally, the president is also putting a number of nervous people on high alert by claiming that any pardon or commutation they received, which was signed by that Biden Autopen, now effectively canceled, and this is no longer legal. And this can't be good for a whole bunch of cool cats who were left off the hook. So, Trump claims that Biden approved more than 90% of his official documents using an unauthorized Autopen signature. Also says that during Biden's time in office, his former White House staff did whatever they wanted and basically ran our entire government using a machine. It kind of sounds like we had the world's first AI president. However, a number of law experts disagree with Trump's opinion, and they argue that any presidential action which is signed by an Autopen is completely legal no matter who operated the device, as long as they were authorized and approved by the man in charge. Now, Biden's aides say their former boss relied on the Autopen often, especially when he was traveling or dealing with a number of health issues. In the meantime, the Republican-led House Oversight Committee says they're unable to find clear and inarguable proof that Biden personally approved each and every one of the executive actions which were signed using that Autopen, despite claims to the contrary. A number of scholars say that if the president had no idea what was going on and didn't approve each one of those individual Autopen signatures, then those actions can be legally challenged. I think what they're saying is, we'll see you in court. And final thoughts. This is the News Roundup Lowdown. It's a complicated story with a bunch of twists and turns, but at the end of the day, it makes a great deal of sense. And virtually anybody who saw Joe Biden in action during the bulk of his time in the White House knows full well that his bulbs were dimly lit, that he wasn't firing on all cylinders, and that clearly he kind of aged out of his job following his first year in office.
How would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't, look, I have trouble even saying to myself my own head the number of years. I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than fly.
Yeah, his gait was compromised, his thought process impossible to follow, and none of us knew what the heck he was saying. And having a machine sign his name on a bunch of highly consequential executive orders, pardons of which you might call a nepotistic nature, and more, means that he and his handlers potentially put our great nation in jeopardy. On that note, hey, Art Fleming, the original Jeopardy host, I think I'll take presidential pardons for 200. That President Trump is trying to undo the mess which the former president and his co-conspirators left behind is brilliant. Long overdue, brutally necessary, but I do smell a court battle a-brewing. Now, here's the thorny part. How will the Trump administration authentically prove that documents were signed by an Autopen without Biden's approval, unless Kathleen Kamala's former boss steps up with a big admission? It's not going to happen. Dr. Jill's going to stand by her man, absolutely, and fearing time behind bars, time in the joint. Nobody from the Biden White House is going to throw the old guy under the bus. That's called loyalty, and you got to kind of like that.